Now let's do toning. We have the palette here that we used. Further, we will continue to work with it. What do we need? We need to dilute the green paint. We take some solvent. We have Virid green and herbal. You need to mix it. Now we'll take a napkin. We need it nowhere without napkins. So the napkin. What are we doing? First we tint. Let's do it like before. First we apply red, carmine, and then green. This will be the best. I am diluting red. Now we will tint. We soak well so that the brush is semi-dry. We start with the antennae, the tips. Let's start at the top. Not much, only along the edge. We are grabbing the antennae. We are grabbing the antennae. If somewhere there are white antennae, then you do not need to make the edges too white. Smear it with red. Don't overdo it. We need natural effect. This fold, which we made for the sepals, may also be tinted. So, we walk along the antennae. We correct where necessary with fingers. We do this at the very top, where we will not paint with green. We will paint until now. It will be enough like this. Now we take green. Green is thickly smeared, so we need to remove the excess as much as possible. It isn't needed. Let's try to start with one sepal and the very base. Here, more. The same, don't do too much. The strokes should be rubbing, smoothing. Do not smear too much paint, otherwise it will not be a natural effect, but we need more realistic effect. This is what we are doing. A little here. We remove excess if we added a lot of paint. If you need to smudge and the brush doesn't help you, you can work with fingers. Fingers help in such cases. Fingers or dry brush, soft one. You can also choose different brushes. What happens? It turns out such a bud. I still have this place, the thickening, I still tinted green. So, we tint and go to the stem, but not much. Let's do the top basically. Now we take the red color, soak it, make the brush semi-dry, not very bright, and apply it where we protonated it with green, slightly. There will be an effect, some kind of mix with green, so we get brown. Nothing wrong with that. You can walk along the very edge of the sepals, where we glued it, these joints. So, here too. And you can also walk along lightly at the drawing with dry brush, as we did on the leaves, but on the back side. Let's do here also. The upper textured drawing is captured. This fold can be emphasized more, so we create a more realistic effect. Here's what happens. What else can you do? You can walk at the base with the red a little there where the base is. We apply paint and then we blend it with the finger. This place hasn't been captured either. We are shading. Anyway, it is superimposed on the green on top and it turns out like this, brown. Here's what you can do. You can take carmine with your fingers, grind and walk along the stem along the base. Make a slightly reddish effect, brownish red. Do not overdo it. Trace, not to the end, not to the very top, but a little more than the middle. We will strive for realism. Here's what happened. You can see well here. Here's a bud. What else have we forgotten? We still have a leaf that we assembled but didn't paint. We haven't painted, we need to touch up the stems. We need no longer green because the stems themselves are already green. We tint here with varnish, we will make a red effect. This is the topmost leaf. It was a small one. Now we will paint it and screw it on this side and make it here. If the brush gets dirty after tinting with green paint or the paint has mixed, we wipe it all off. We wash or use wet napkins. We collect paint, do it semi-dry and go through from the back. Also, we touch slightly somewhere, we make a more saturated shade somewhere, here. And here. That's what happened, such a red petiole. It's done. We take the leaves. Now we'll do the same. So, let's start from the top leaf. We paint here. Try to completely cover the stem on the reverse side. You can use not so saturated red, just to do even less. This is more natural color. When we apply to the green clay, it gives a natural color. Here we walk along the pattern with a brush, with the reddish shade, a petiole. Next we go down below. We grab these petioles, small leaves. If there is excess paint, then we remove it. We use a semi-dry brush. You can use a dry napkin. But a napkin may erase it completely. Better to use semi-dry brush. On the other side now. And it's the same here. Here's what we got from this side. This is the back side. Here we have a front one. We do not go further. Next, what are we doing? Use fingers to make a uniform transition from red to green. Smooth movements. Lower the paint down. The transition is smooth from red to green. Red, brownish red and green. What we have? Here we do the same. Then we will attach it to the flower. All the blanks are ready, all the leaves are ready. We need the buds to have antennae on the stem itself. We will make them. For more realism, we will take glue, green clay and a stack. And the scissors, of course. Let's move it. We take clay, a small amount. How do we do it? Divide this pea in half. It must be very small. What are we doing with it? We will roll it out, stretch it so that it takes such a shape and gently roll it out on the finger. Make it thin. Next, remove it carefully. You can make several cuts. Antennae. They are quite small. This is the main secret. We take the glue and choose the place where we will glue. We choose this place. We put a drop of glue and put the blank here. Wrap around the stem, smooth with fingers while the clay is fresh. You can wash it off, then it is need to be tinted again. Now we will remove the color that we tinted with a wash. Wash gently. Take a napkin and remove the excess. The paint has gone a little. Everything dries up from above and we tint. We have one moustache, antenna, petal, leaf. And let's make another one like this. Right there next. We take it, make a ball, make a drop with your finger and roll it out. A little more will turn out. The shape can be any, mainly triangular, in the form of a droplet. Making incisions yet. We glue. We do so that it was in the girth of the previous. Press gently with your fingers. It must be washed so that there are no obvious transitions. You couldn't see what was glued here. As if we made it so that it was not glued, but it grew. We will wash, remove all joints. We remove all unnecessary with a napkin. Here's a little thing happened. Let's do the same on the second bud. Then, when it dries up, we tint the red. We take quite a bit. There is even a 5 mm P, even 4 mm. We are unwinding neatly now, so we make incisions. We take glue, just a little so that there is no unnecessary. We put a dot of glue. The one even is enough. We won't do the second one. We wash it away. We remove the unnecessary so that the borders are not visible. They are not needed. Wipe the excess with a napkin. Here's what happened. We have done. What else do we need? You need to make cuttings at the base of the leaves. How are we going to do them? Now we take a leaf. We need to make it shorter. We will remove the excess clay now. Look, it can be removed until it is dry. It will be great. This is enough. We take clay, a little. This will be enough. We roll it out and we will make just such a strip. Pinch with your fingers and roll. We rolled it out. Now let's cut off the excess. Make it more rectangular. Cut in the middle. We make an incision like this. We make such antennae. Cut out a triangle in the middle and make cuts here. Once a cut and the same thing from this side. So, now what can I do? It can be rolled with a stack to create a more transparent look, to make it thinner. And now we'll roll this one too. We will make a few cuts so that there will be more moustache here and here. Now what are we doing? We need to take glue and we apply a little on the back of the leaf. Not a leaf, but the stem. We apply glue a little so that there is no excess. We missed. Now we need to glue. We glue this way. Remove excess glue if it is left. We apply on this side, turn over and raise like this. Here's what comes out. Now we need to wash the place of joint. Here, to have no boundaries, we remove excess, so we take the stack carefully. If something is bent, stuck, smooth it out, remove it. Let it dry a little because thin hairs, leaves stick together. You can make a further cut in some places which are expected to be more realistic. Here's what happened. Leave it to dry so as not to touch the table. We will do the same with the second one. The principle is the same. Roll it out. Here you can do a little more, longer. They should be approximately the same. It can be rolled on your finger, as I do now, or on the palm, as you wish, as you like. Roll out thinner so that there are no thick edges. We trim. Now we make a triangle in the middle. This way. You can make such incisions. Now let's work with the stack. These antennae. Let's press to make them thinner. We cut somewhere with scissors, here and here. We take it again. We coat it with glue. Where does the wire start? This is where we start. This is how we do it. Probably not. A little higher. We will navigate along the way. We coat and glue here, like this. Raise. It is necessary to wash the joints. just a little bit. So, we take scissors and cut this edge, which is superfluous, like this. You can move it a little so that they dry in the correct shape. Here's what happened. Leave it to dry. Now they will dry up and we will have a complete assembly of the flower. Now the fun begins. This is rolling of the trunk and all the leaves, buds attaching. We will roll the trunk. What do we need for this? The glue. We take a small amount of clay, so it is enough. We crush it a little. Now we go through the place where we will attach the clay with glue. Here is a little bit because the clay will just go at these places. A little to the trunk. What are we doing? A ball, then a cake, then we apply it carefully and we are already thinking about proper shape. So, we leave approximately this thickness at the top. Thickening must be here. We will straighten all this, smooth it out and lower the clay along the trunk, stretching it not very far. Remove excess clay. We begin to attach the leaf here. So, we need water and the silicone brush, which we didn't use in the process, but it will be useful because there will be places where we cannot reach with the finger. So, now we will get. Take such a round brush, wet it a little, and what do? I will hold the rose. We smooth out all these places, joints, where we have a transition from sepals to the trunk. Try to do it all carefully, so that there are no voids left, there are no unnecessary folds. We will try to wash it all away, make amends. Now we remove the excess with a damp napkin. Just soak it. We wet our fingers a little more, process where we hooked with a brush, where there are irregularities. So, Here's what happened. We smoothed. Now leave it to dry. It will dry out and we will attach the leaves.